Hi everyone, my name is Robbie Frazier and today I'll be demonstrating two strength exercises, the barbell bench press and the bicep curl. I'll go over first by demonstrating the movements myself, then I'll go over the anatomical analysis of each movement, and then I'll go over with my client, Kaisen over here, and I'll coach him on proper technique, body position, and muscle engagement, as well as we'll be doing a 1 rep max for both. So the first exercise that we're doing today is the barbell bench press. It mainly targets your pec major. So to set up, you want to lie down on your back. You want to plant your feet firmly on the ground. And you want to keep a slight arch in your back and your shoulders retracted. And then when you go to grip the bar, you want it slightly wider than your shoulder width. So let me demonstrate. So I firmly plant my feet down, grab it shoulder width. And then when I go to lift, I keep my shoulders retracted, I drive my feet, and then when I go down, I keep my wrist straight, I lower it to my mid-back or my mid-chest, and then I keep my elbows at a 45-degree angle, and then when I go up, I push up, but I don't fully do this. I still want to keep my shoulders retracted. So let me demonstrate for you again. Go down, drive with your feet, up. You always want to make sure you have a spotter to remain stable, and then to keep balance you want to make sure that the bar is parallel and perpendicular to your body so that you don't tilt. You always want to keep it stable. Alright, I'll be talking about anatomical analysis of the bench press. So the joints that are involved are the glenohumeral joints and the humeral ulnar joints, which is your shoulder and your elbow. The main agonist is obviously the pectoralis major. And then we have the joint action when you are in the eccentric phase. You have shoulder abduction, and then you have elbow flexion. And then in the concentric phase, you have shoulder adduction and elbow extension. Your main antagonists for this one would be the rhomboids. Your synergists would be your triceps. You also have your brachialis and your brachioradialis, and you also have your shoulder rotator cuff muscles that help stabilize the joint. The plane of motion is in the transverse plane, and so the axis would be the longitudinal axis. And then the purpose of this would be to have hypertrophy in your chest or to develop strength in your pectoralis major. Alright guys, I'm with Kaisen, and so we're going to be evaluating his bench press. I'll first look for his shoulder mobility to see if his shoulders are good enough to do the bench press, and then while he's doing his bench press, I will be evaluating his elbow alignment, and also evaluate his bar path, as long as also his full body stability as well. So let's look at his shoulder stability. All right guys, his shoulder stability looks good enough to do the bench press, so let's see how he executes the bench press. So what I noticed here was that you uplifted your feet from the ground. So we want to keep your feet planted. We want to drive using your feet to keep your body stable. An analogy that I would like to use is that you want to push your bar, act like you're pushing yourself away from the bar, not the bar, not you pushing it away. To maintain that wobbliness, you want to keep your shoulder retracted, engage your core, and then when you go to lift the bar, lower it to your mid-back, and then extend your elbows while keeping your shoulder retracted to maintain that stability. Go for it. Looks great. Alright, so for exercise number 2, we're going to be doing the bicep curl. It's going to be targeting your biceps. And so what you want to do is you want to stand up straight, you want to engage your core. And then you want to tuck your elbow in with your palm facing this way. Tuck your elbow. Make sure your muscles are engaged back here to keep your shoulder joint stable. You don't want any movement. And so what you want to do is you just want to flex your shoulder this way and extend your shoulder this way. Alright, for the anatomical analysis of the bicep curl, first we have our joint, which is the humeral ulnar joint, which is your elbow joint. The joint action on the eccentric flex, when you're going down, you're doing elbow extension, and when you're going up, you're doing elbow flexion. The agonist of this exercise is the biceps brachii, and the antagonist is the triceps brachii. The main synergist, I would say, is the rotator cuff muscles, which stabilize the shoulder joint while you're performing this. The plane of motion is the sagittal plane, and the axis of rotation is the medial lateral plane or the frontal plane. And the purpose is just to isolate your biceps brachii to gain strength and hypertrophy. All right, guys, so my client here will be performing the movement. So first I'll be doing a manual muscle test on his biceps brachii. So I'm going to push down, resist, and push down. All right, he's demonstrated strength and functional in his elbow, and so now he's good enough to do it. So I said I want you to do the movement, and I'm going to be looking for shoulder stability and tempo control. So when you're ready, go for it. All right, I'm going to have you stop there. So what I want you to imagine your shoulder and your elbow as a hinge joint. Your elbow is the hinge, and your shoulder is the door. It doesn't move. This is the door. So you want to keep your shoulder here, your elbow tightly tucked here, and then you want to control your speed so that you have no movement in your shoulder. You only have your elbow and your control. I'll be trying to get it. Alright, that looks perfect. Alright guys, this concludes my exercise evaluation. We went over balance, posture, technique, and safety for the bench press and the bicep curl, as well as we corrected my client Kaisen's form so that he feels confident, able to do these movements. Thank you.